Life is short. If you embrace failure, you'll be more successful in business, relationships, parenting, sports, and life in general. Daniel Pink, the author of The Power of Regret and one of my favorite authors, surveyed readers and found respondents overwhelmingly regretted things they didn't do rather than the things that they did by a factor of 3 to 1. For example, they regretted not attending funerals of loved ones, way more than taking risks like moving to a new city. So why is it natural for humans to want to avoid failure? Let's take a look at an interesting study done by a former NASA scientist to get more insights into this phenomenon. Mark Rober, a popular YouTuber and former NASA scientist, conducted an informal study in 2016 to explore how failure impacts learning and perseverance. The study was part of his broader interest in promoting a growth mindset, especially among young learners. The study involved a group of children and adults. Participants were given a challenge to solve a simple yet tricky puzzle. The puzzle was designed so that failure was almost inevitable the first few attempts. The participants were divided into 2 groups. Group A received a version of the puzzle that had a timer and progress bar indicating failure. Group B received a version without any indication that they were failing at all. Instead, the puzzle reset automatically without notifying them of any failure. The results were very interesting. Group A participants who were aware of their failures tended to give up more quickly. The visible failure indicators discouraged them, leading to frustration and a higher likelihood of quitting. Group B participants who were not made explicitly aware of their failures showed greater perseverance. Without the psychological barrier of knowing that they were failing, they kept trying different strategies until they eventually solved the puzzle. The study demonstrated that a person's awareness of failure can significantly impact their willingness to continue working on a problem. Those who weren't consistently reminded of their failures were more likely to keep experimenting, which led to greater success in solving the puzzle. Rober's study highlighted the importance of fostering a growth mindset, where failure is viewed as a part of the learning process, rather than a negative outcome. By not focusing on failure, individuals are more likely to persevere and eventually succeed. The findings suggest that educational environments should be designed to encourage experimentation and reduce the fear of failure, which can be a major barrier to learning and innovation. This study reinforced the idea that how failure is framed can significantly influence a person's resilience and ability to learn from their mistakes. What impact do you think social media has on someone's awareness of failure or perceived failure? With only the best pictures, highlight reels being published on social media, I'm sure this is acting as a reminder of their failures in life and resulting in people being less likely to keep experimenting or persevering. As much as I love YouTube as an educational and inspirational tool, what if all the videos about how to make money are having a negative impact on the viewer by acting as a reminder that they're not doing it right already? Let me know down in the comments if you've ever watched one of those videos on how to make $500 a day or $1,000 a day in doing this one simple business and how it made you feel, if it made you feel like a failure more than actually giving you inspiration. I know this is ironic and the irony of me talking about this on YouTube and on my channel that focuses on money, but I think it's really important. When we compare ourselves to others, it's actually having the inverse effect on our ability to persevere and make progress. Going back to that study that Daniel Pink conducted, one of the most common themes he found were people regretting living someone else's life rather than being true to themselves. Are you trying to live someone else's life? Are you embracing failure and treating life as a series of experiments, or are you avoiding failure? Life is short. In this video, I'm going to share 3 life lessons that might help you embrace failure and become more successful in business, relationships, parenting, sports, and life in general. If this resonates with you, please hit subscribe on the channel. It lets me know that I'm connecting with you, and please leave a comment. Let me know down below so I can help you better and help get to know you better. Lesson number 1 is nobody cares. Let me tell you a quick story. So I used to pick up my girls from school every day. It was about a 30-minute one-way drive, so about an hour round trip. And it was in Southern California near San Diego, one of the high schools that we would always drive by, and we always had to go really slow because of a lot of traffic and it's a school zone. And it was always interesting to see all the high school kids shuffling out, walking, riding their bikes, driving their cars. So we're driving down this road that we always take, and there's a lot of cars, a lot of kids. And there's this guy behind us that decides that he wants to try to go as fast as he can up to this stop sign. So he has this Dodge Charger, it's this white V8 Hemi, just sounds like very visceral. So he stomps on it, drives up past us. And then we have our windows down, and these boys that are walking next to us, one of them yells, "Nobody cares." It is true. Nobody cares about him. While I can relate as a boy in high school back in the day, I had a loud stereo. I cranked it up. I thought that if I played it loud enough, the girls would like me more and the guys would think I'm cool. But nobody cares. And the reason why I say this is, in business especially, if you've got a product or a service that you're selling, or you're looking at starting a business or becoming an affiliate for a company, or you're doing content creation and you're trying to get brand sponsorships or brand deals, whatever business that you're in, even at work, nobody cares about you. They only care about themselves. So how can you tell a story as it relates to your product or service or whatever you're selling that makes you money? And how can you put it into their terms that they'll be able to see themselves in that product or in that solution to the service that you offer? And I think that's really important to understand, is even though I'm creating a video right now that you are watching, you're at this point where you don't care about me, you're caring about how this relates to your life. And I completely get that. And that's what you need to understand, is nobody cares about you, they're caring about themselves, and that's okay. Lesson number 2. Experiment. I'll tell you another story. We were at a restaurant shortly before we were about to move from California back to Colorado. We were sitting at this restaurant. Actually, it was because the home we were living in was having a showing so that the realtor could show the home for it to be sold. And so we were trying to kill some time. So we went out to eat some lunch. And the waitress, it was at Eureka in Carlsbad, California. If you're familiar, it's a cool little place. Anyway, so we're talking with the waitress, and she actually moved from the East Coast, I think Massachusetts, to California about, 5 so years ago. She bought a house. We were talking about just the cost of living in California and kind of all the craziness that's going on. I actually did a video about why we're leaving California, so you can watch that if you want. But she mentioned something that was really important that I think will stick with me forever. And she said, she's looking to move back to Massachusetts or back on the East Coast. And she said, this was a good experiment. And what she was referring to is living out in California. And for us, it was the same thing. We had moved out there back in 2019, right before the pandemic, about 6 months before the pandemic hit. We didn't have friends, we didn't have family. And we moved out there primarily because I wanted to live in a warmer climate. I'd been living in Colorado for 40 years and wanted to live somewhere warm, play golf and go to the beach and do these kind of cool Southern California things. And while it was a good experiment, not everything went well. Financially, it wasn't the best choice for us and our family. We definitely could have saved a lot of money, having not paid for a lot of the different things, whether it was rent or private schools or gasoline or all the other things. But it was a great experiment. And I think you need to understand is life is full of experiments, and the more you can make experiments, just like the Mark Rober's study proved, is that the more you can experiment without looking at it as a failure or without getting aware of that it's a failure while you're doing it, the more likely you are to continue experimenting and trying new things, which will lead you to even more success and more fulfillment in life. Part of me is secretly telling my daughters this, whether they're watching now or later on in life, is you need to experiment in life. And living in California while we were away from our family and friends, it was a great experiment. We're back. Love being back in Colorado, close to my family. Love that we made the decision to move back finally. But it was a good experiment. Lesson number 3, We all die. We are limited in our time here in this body on this earth. So we need to make the most of it. And I want to tell you a quick story about a phone call conversation I had with my aunt. We had just recently moved back to Colorado, and we have this pool, this community pool that's really cool. My niece is actually one of the lead lifeguards there. And we were there one day with my mom, their grandma, my kid's grandma, and we were playing in the pool. My mom was out of the pool talking on the phone with my aunt Eva, and she was over there just talking. Had the speakerphone on. Don't ever talk with your speakerphone on in public, but that's another story. She was talking with her sister, my aunt, and I wanted to go say hi because I hadn't talked to her in a long time. I haven't seen her in years. So I just wanted to say hi. So I hop out of the pool, walk over there, say hi to my aunt. I say, hey, how are you doing? How you feeling? She actually had a series of really bad situations where she had to get her toe amputated because of some health issues. She got into a really bad accident where I think she lost feeling in her finger and broken bones. She just was having a really tough couple years, to be honest. And so I was really glad to say hi to her, and I felt good. And then the next day comes, and I get a text from my mom. And she said, Eva died. I was like, we were just talking to her. She sounded fine. So she had passed away. Her kids who lived close to her had sent somebody to go check on her because they hadn't heard from her in a few days, even though we had actually talked, my mom and I had talked to her the day before, and they found her close to her bed. So we're not sure what happened. Excuse me. But life is short. I'm super grateful to have that conversation with her. I know my mom was super grateful that happened as well. Like, she was able to talk with her and probably be the last person that talked with her. I know that meant a lot to her. So I don't want to end on a low note, but I do want you to feel like we don't have all the time in the world. And I know you know this. I know everyone's like, oh, life's short, live it, carpe diem, live each day to the fullest. But, life gets in the way. We've got to do these things that we've got to do to pay the bills, to take the girls to school, got school starting. All life just happens, but life ends as well. So why not experiment more? Why not take more risks? Why not just live your life? And I guarantee you'll be more successful as a parent, more successful in business, just more successful in overall life. I wish the best for you. I told a story a while ago that I'll end on this. I told this story a few videos ago that I saw this Jeep driving around and had a bumper sticker. Normally bumper stickers are politically, who's the presidential election or who's the candidate that they're going for, or, Jeeps, if you're reading this, it's a Jeep thing, you don't understand. They're very personalized. This one, I will always remember. It said, I hope something good happens to you today. And I was like, that's the best bumper sticker I've ever seen. And in fact, just the other day here in Colorado, I saw the same bumper sticker. So I hope something great happens to you today. And I hope you go on and you make yourself try more things. I'm going to end on that. These are a few videos that YouTube believes you should watch next based off of what you've watched of mine before. If you haven't already subscribed to the channel, subscribe. Click that like button. Let me know that this had some impact on you, and leave a comment down below. I'd love to hear, your story. what's going on with you. So until next time, have a great day, and we will see you soon.